Well, hello YouTube, it's me, Fortmaster, and welcome to a new reaction that I didn't think I would be doing today. So at the time of recording, I just finished doing my reaction to the teaser trailer for the Electric State movie on Netflix. As I said in that one, that like graphic novel or whatever it is has been on my radar for a couple of years, and because I just loved the look of it. And I was really surprised that they actually picked it up for a movie. Now, what do I see in my suggestions of that video is a video by Curious Archive here called The Breathtaking Horror of the Electric State. As I said, I didn't know that much about the Electric State before, so besides the fact that that it's like some flavor of post-apocalyptic, I'm not entirely sure. But I mean, this video was made a year ago. So maybe they have some information on the story and what it's actually about. So, you know, I'm curious. My love for this story has been, you know, piqued once again, and I want to learn more about it. So yeah, of course, as always, original videos linked in the description if you haven't seen it yet for some reason. Corner video, a link to my Let's Play today, as well as my reaction to the Electric State trailer as well. I'll put those, you know, linking to each other, you know, just in case you want to see it. So yeah, with all that out of the way, let's get this thing started then, shall we?
The Electric State is a beautiful nightmare. I don't know how else to describe it. I could say it's an art book by the brilliant artist Simon Stålenhag that explores an alternate version of the United States in the late 90s. This is true. I could say it's a story where a young woman and a small robot venture across a ruined landscape littered with the skeletons of terrifying machines. This is also true. I could say it's a poignant warning of how runaway consumerism can have apocalyptic consequences. This, I believe, is true as well. Yet none of these descriptions tells the whole. So, for this entry into the archive, I'll dive deep into this masterpiece of sci-fi world-building. And like my video on Stålenhag's other series, Tales from the Loop, you can purchase the art book using the links in the description. Now, let's enter the world of the Electric State.
God, it's been so long since I've seen any of these.
The Electric State begins in 1997. With a mysterious girl and a strange yellow robot venturing across the Mojave Desert, moving towards their distant destination somewhere on the western coast.
With a kayak.
Much of the Electric State is centered around their journey through the collapsing nation, turning the narrative into a kind of apocalyptic road trip. This strange duo forms the emotional core of the art book, the beating heart of a world where everything is increasingly mechanical. On the side of a dusty road in the Mojave Desert, clothes blow from the roof box of an empty sedan. The car's owners are now dried husks, still dressed in their vacation clothes, a portrait of a family vacation gone horribly awry. Virtual reality headsets called Neurocasters still cling to their heads, likely the cause of their death. Manufactured by the company Sentry, Neurocasters are a reoccurring visual in the Electric State. These face-swallowing devices were designed for military use, but soon became a common household item as people lost themselves within a blissful virtual network. The side effects weren't noticed until too late. More and more consumers never took their headsets off, and would wither away into lifeless shells, their mouths sometimes still moving as if trapped in a dream.
Oh, jeez.
Starts behind the eyes, goes behind the head.
My head is just getting tighter.
The concept of people losing themselves to a simulated nightmare is mirrored in David Cronenberg's Existence, a sci-fi horror film that, despite being released in 1999, feels painfully modern.
Oh god, I remember hearing about this one. Oh, though purely, most of it was just how weird, you know, you have this game system, but it's like weird and fleshy, and you literally plug it into your like spine or something like that. Ugh.
Like the Electric State, Existence is an unsettling meditation on how technology shapes and manipulates human beings, where virtual reality offers no salvation but oblivion. And in the electric state, the Neurocasters prove to be quite literally apocalyptic. The exact cause of the Neurocasters' malfunction is unknown, but there are rumors that in connecting so many brains through the headsets, an intercerebral intelligence emerged, a hive mind with an agenda of its own.
Oh. Okay. Okay, now I'm thinking back. I can't remember what I said during my reaction to the trailer, but in the trailer they were talking about how the robots lost their freedom. Maybe that's it. Like, you already had, like, the awakening of, like, AI and stuff like that, and we gave them rights, so, you know, no war there. But then you have this technology making a hive mind, and maybe it's what went to war with, you know, the robots and stuff like that. Okay.
Again.
Finding a car and beginning a long drive across California, the girl and robot witness the surreal wreckage of a collapsing civilization. In one image, huge yellow ducks rise from the sand like bizarre monuments, their bodies riddled with impacts from large caliber rounds.
Were these literally being... Yeah, those are bullseyes painted on them. They're literally being used for target practice.
It seems the region was once some kind of shooting range, although it has long been abandoned. Elsewhere off the highway, a giant metal mascot erodes away into a metal skeleton, its pained expression frozen in a permanent smile despite the devastation surrounding it.
And, okay, so this is the, well, I mean, smaller versions of this are, at least I think, like, the smaller versions of this are what use, like, that catapulted the fridge at the end of the trailer. Fridges, actually. But still.
How the animatronic reached its resting place is left ambiguous, although the framing of the image makes it seem like this machine walked here on its own. In a dusty town emptying of people, another machine sits in silence, its body a nightmare of tangled wires. There's a fascinating incongruity between the extraordinary Goliath and its ordinary surroundings. A fundamental incompatibility that evokes a strange sense of loneliness. Yet at the same time, there is something undeniably threatening about these childlike and cartoonish machines that seem to appear more and more frequently as the girl and robot creep ever closer to their destination.
Oh, I mean, also, given the fact that each of them seems to be at least over 30 feet tall or more. Like that one that was sitting in the desert, like, I don't even want to know how big that was, but that one's like, that has to be almost 100 feet tall, almost.
In these illustrations, Stalinhog proves himself an expert in the uncanny, creating machines just abnormal enough to instill uneasiness. Where these machines came from and what they truly are is a mystery that can only be solved by venturing deeper into the electric state.
Wherever you are this summer could be a very cool place.
Advertisements also loom large over the electric state. In one snapshot from this post-apocalyptic road trip, an immense inflatable sun smiles and throws up a peace sign in bitterly amusing dissonance to the end of the world.
Why did the second I saw that, why did I think of the ball at Las Vegas? That's basically the same thing, except, you know, without the mohawker hands.
In another, a giant heart-shaped mascot rusts under the California sun, promoting financial solutions for people with terminal conditions. The macabre juxtaposition between the upbeat marketing and grim subject matter is a repeating motif throughout Stalinhog's illustrations of advertisements, a reflection of a culture that pretended everything was fine until it was too late. On a passing billboard, a slogan proudly proclaims that Neurocasters win both design awards and wars, showing that warfare is seen as just another opportunity for marketing. And given the devastation the Neurocasters caused, there's a grim, unspoken implication that this advertisement would have been taken down if there were anyone left to do so.
Yeah.
Where the electrical grid still functions, gargantuan towers of corporate logos overshadow the homes of residential neighborhoods. These literal monuments to suffocating commercialism cut through the fog, with Stalinhog's exceptional eye for atmospheric lighting making the scene particularly melancholy.
Yes, those things I saw in the trailer. I mean, you can see some real, you can see like a number of real brands on here, and I wonder, I really wonder how they're going to handle that in the movie. Like, are they going to have actual like brand names on there, like potentially, sponsorships, or would real companies not want themselves associated with the, the apocalypse? Also, just all of the wires coming out of these things.
Cities like this echo the visuals of sci-fi films like Blade Runner, whose iconic setting is similarly awash with neon light from skyscraper-sized advertisements. There's an undeniable familiarity to these striking visuals. The invasive billboards of the Electric State in Blade Runner are exaggerations, but not by much. Across the US, how many landscapes are clogged with a mismatch of commercial signs? How many major cities overload the senses with a blur of fluorescent advertisements? The United States that the Electric State depicts is a nation seen through a cracked lens, where the specifics are distorted but the overall impression remains uncomfortably close to reality. One piece of media that can help us better understand the Electric State's relationship to reality is the sci-fi pixel art game Norco. Released by indie developer Raw Fury in 2022, the melancholy point-and-click adventure takes place in an alternate version of Norco, Louisiana, where advancements in robotics and industry have created a land of desolation and alienation. The urban sprawl of real-world Norco has been shaped by the petroleum industry and has twice experienced catastrophic explosions, events that the game feels in painful conversation with.
Okay, well, granted, people gotta live where they gotta live and all that, but like, why would you build houses that close to like a refinery? Like, even ignoring the danger of explosions, what about just air quality and stuff like that?
There are moments where the pixel art fades into live-action footage of the region, blurring the line between fiction and reality. Like the Electric State, Norco's vision is both unfamiliar and recognizable, a long-lost acquaintance you come to recognize the more you speak with them.
This advanced technology helps to diagnose arthritis.
But to effectively relieve the minor pain of arthritis, use this.
As the girl and robot continue their journey, they spot crowds of people wandering through fields, the red glow of their Neurocasters like giant, unblinking eyes. These silent masses seem to no longer have a will of their own, having themselves become drones piloted by a mysterious intelligence. In the mists of the western coast, they work to assemble a disturbing new class of machines.
God, these were what I was talking about before.
Glimpses of these monstrous mechanical beings appear throughout the Electric State. In one piece, a smiling face peers out from the darkness of an abandoned barn. Something about the image pulls you in, making you curious about what the rest of the creature looks like.
Yeah, very much so.
Later in the Electric State,
there we go.
We get a better look at these incomprehensible beings. A Titanic drone looms over a parking lot, its face and raised arms scavenged from an old advertisement animatronic. Bundles of cables pour from its head like the tentacles of an octopus, spilling down to the ground.
And then just
a
underneath
crowd of
Neurocaster-controlled
onlookers watch the tentacles slither across the asphalt and into a parked minivan, witnesses to some dark ritual. While these monsters of wire and steel are nightmarish, there is a quiet awe that some of these pieces evoke, like wandering into the forest and coming face to face with a gigantic animal. Witnessing these beings can instill a kind of dark wonder in the viewer. The term Eldritch comes to mind, a word used to describe something otherworldly or incomprehensible.
Just looking at this one particularly, it's like you took like our normal technology and corrupted it almost. Like here you can see this is obviously like the remnants. This was made from like the remnants of a head of something else. Like you can see, lip, nose, eyes, but it's been just morphed into something. Like, actually thinking back, I think this was what I was talking about before, that looked, where it looked like you had like the body of a chicken, but you cut off its head and tail and wings, and you're something like really long legs. It's so weird.
In this regard, these beings are reminiscent of the unfathomably vast, shambling terrors glimpsed in films like The Mist, which instill a similar mix of dread and wonder.
Jeez. Never actually seen The
Stalinhug
Mist.
also experiments with light and condensation in many of these scenes,
Yeah, a lot of water.
creating portraits that feel like you're looking through the rain-soaked window of a car. The blurred light imbues these otherwise unsettling scenes with a kind of nostalgia, bringing you back to a time spent looking out the car window as a child, watching the world distort through droplets of rain. In scenes like these, it almost seems like if you shut your eyes, the apocalyptic devastation will fade away. A massive Neurocaster network tower casts red light into the fog like a grim lighthouse, making this region feel all the more like a gothic nightmare. Yet perhaps...
And, like, I think part of the reason why I love the look of this so much is it does, like, very obviously, like, again, you get the sense that this is either, like as I said, post-apocalyptic or nearing the apocalypse. But if you just, like, block out, like, the robot or, like, the towers, it doesn't feel like it. So there's that little bit of, like, contradiction going on. Like, you look, everything's still fine, like, the grass is green and all stuff like that. And, like, I know in, like, a lot of like, modern depictions of the post-apocalypse, it's been, you know, it's due to, like, global warming and stuff like that, so everything's either dry and everything's burning and, you know, all that sort of stuff. And then you have this, where you can tell something's not right. The apocalypse is approaching fast, but you could easily just sit there and relax and pretend as if nothing's going wrong. And unless you actually looked for it, you could potentially fool yourself into thinking you were right.
Perhaps even more notably, this section of the Electric State is set within Marin County, California, the same region as the 1995 sci-fi horror film Village of the Damned. Directed by John Carpenter, the film tells the story of a group of creepy children with creepier haircuts, who are connected to each other via a hive mind.
Creepy children with
a
creepy
1960
haircuts.
movie of the same name. Both stories explore the loss of humanity to a collective intelligence, a concept that is similarly central to the Electric State.
Your family could take advantage of this exciting new world, like ours has.
The mechanical infection in the Electric State takes another, less perceptible form. Yellow service robots waddle across the roads as the girl and robot drive onwards, hauling massive cable rollers. These machines spread a dark network of signal wires across the United States, connecting more and more regions to the Neurocaster hive mind. In the snowy mountains, massive spherical buildings serve as local hubs for the Neurocaster network, their sides still plastered with advertisements. Millions of interconnected minds bounce around inside each hub, the power required to keep them trapped in a digital fantasy melting the snow. While Neurocasters never flooded the consumer market in our timeline, there was another network of interconnectivity that became massively widespread in the mid-90s.
The web.
Can entertain you, transport you to far-off locations,
Internet.
help your children with their schoolwork, and make working at home easier.
The internet and the Neurocaster network reflect each other, with both connecting people in incredible ways and leading to serious, unforeseen consequences. When viewed through the lens of the internet, the dark network of the Electric State feels uncomfortably familiar, with stories of people losing themselves to a blissful oblivion and becoming dependent on a digital net taking on new meaning.
Why, you can even plan a family adventure on the net. Hey!
At various points in the Electric State, the girl and the robot make rest stops much like one would on any normal road trip. Like real-world liminal spaces, these near-empty parking lots and motels have an unsettling quality that is hard to place. There's a sense of time crawling to a stop in these illustrations, which don't require mechanical monsters to be unnerving.
Though then again, you do have the giant mechanical mountain that's just strewn with cables in the background, so yeah, that kind of throws things off a little bit.
Yet these narrative breaks also give the storyline a chance to breathe and deepen the viewer's understanding of the protagonists. The more you follow the girl and the robot on their journey, the more you empathize with their characters. Stalinhog does an outstanding job using the minimal text and subtle visual cues to demonstrate the bond the two have, as the world around them becomes increasingly dangerous. In one of the most memorable points of the voyage, the girl and robot drive past a forgotten war memorial. A hillside ravaged by bombs emerges from the clouds. Two gargantuan military vessels simply called drones sit in silent vigil atop the hill, a class
like those
of
ones from
machines that
earlier.
played a huge role in the backstory of the Electric State. While in the present of the Electric State, drones are little more than bloated metal carcasses, these machines once spearheaded the nation's military. In a nameless war, these unmanned vessels fought each other in a strategy game played out over 7 years.
I wonder if we're going to be able to see any of this, like see any of these in the movie. Like, maybe again, it's the movie's going to be based off of these, so maybe they get one of them running again. Jeez, can you imagine?
Though the drone technology was praised for preventing meaningless loss of life, the collateral damage was catastrophic, not just in terms of civilian casualties, but in terms of unforeseen technological consequences. For the drones were controlled by pilots wearing Sentry headsets, with the war spurring the invention of the Neurocaster technology that would eventually go on to doom the nation it was supposed to protect. It's difficult to convey the sheer power that Stalinhog's art gives these machines, which feels so enormous they become part of the landscape, looming in the distance like artificial mountains. In one image, a drone seems to have been converted into a makeshift dwelling, with a Californian flag and string of laundry hung from its side. Once trophies of victory, these colossal wrecks are now bitter consolation prizes. A painful reminder that though the nation won on one front, the triumph came at the price of losing everything to a mechanical nightmare.
See, I love the design of these, because you look at them, they're basically like flying battleships. Like gun emplacements everywhere, you got a huge superstructure near the rear. Jeez, these things are cool.
There is another narrative hidden within the Electric State. Running parallel to the story of the girl and the robot is a fragmented storyline of a mysterious agent who seems to be headed towards the same location. While their true mission doesn't come to light until the final pages of the Electric State, the agent is a source of constant tension, as they seem to be on a collision course with our protagonists. In the last stretch of the Electric State, the girl and the robot arrive at an overgrown childhood suburb that has fallen to ruin. In this final section, less and less text accompanies the images, with the breathtaking scenes speaking for themselves. On the side of the road, two figures shamble through the night like nocturnal animals towards the warm light of a distant window. At this point of the Electric State, it's difficult to tell if they're people wearing Neurocasters or entirely mechanical beings.
Oh jeez,
Bird-like drones called scrappers pick through the remains of this coastal wasteland, laden with bags and bundles of cables. These artificial vultures work tirelessly to collect mechanical parts, perhaps for themselves, or perhaps for something else.
Man, you know, that's so, you know, just on like a side note, you'd think that if like you had this like hive mind or something like that was reliant on technology to function, that it would do anything in its power to get industry up and running again, to actually produce the components that it needed to function, rather than, you know, scavenging from the wreckage of everything around it.
Above the overgrown lawns of decaying houses, more colossal beings stand in silence, their dominion over this region absolute. In these suburbs where families once lived, machines are now born from twisted, giant fetuses, There's a sense in these images that the plague of machines has become a critical infection, and nothing will ever be the same.
Oh, God.
Yet the Electric State is more than just a story about hopelessness. Even at its darkest moments, there is always a faint glimmer of humanity, a spark of compassion kept alive by its two lead characters. And everything builds to a resolution that I found at once both unexpected and perfectly in tune with the theme Stalinhog had established throughout the rest of the volume.
Jeez,
While I don't
Joker.
think I should give away all the specifics of the Electric State's final pages,
Oh,
if you'd
come
like to
on.
know more, you can check out the book for yourself. In the end, the Electric State is quite literally a story that's as much about the journey as it is the destination. What at first seems like an almost alien world over time develops into something uncomfortably familiar, as the parallels between the Electric State's timeline and our own become more and more apparent. Like Simon Stalinhog's other most well-known work, Tales from the Loop, it is a haunting, poignant book that pulls you deeper into its atmospheric depths the more you read, and stays with you long after the pages end. If you found this world as interesting as I do, you can purchase the art book using the links below to get the full story, and follow Simon Stalinhog on social media.
This is driving me nuts.
As always, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this entry, please lend your support by liking, subscribing, and hitting the notification icon to stay up to date on all things curious. See you in the next video.
Well, I mean, I did get some Amazon gift cards for my birthday, so I might just have to buy these. So yeah, that's definitely it for now. I mean, God, now I want to know even more about this. I might have to just like the idea that it's not the robots themselves that might destroy us, but it's like it's technology basically turning us into a hive mind or creating a hive mind out of us that will inevitably destroy us. Oh, and then there's everything to be said about all the wonders and joys of the internet. Great. Oh God, yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I'm seeing there's another video made by Curious Archives about Tales from the Loop, and if it's made by the same creator as the Electric State, I very much might want to see that as well. But if you want to see me do a reaction to that, leave a comment below. But yeah, oh God, now I'm really excited for that movie. Ah! So, yeah, of course, as always, original videos linked in the description if you haven't seen it for some reason. Corner video will lead both to my Let's Play of the day as well as my reaction to the Electric State trailer. And yeah, with all that out of the way, I hope you guys liked. If you did, leave a like, subscribe if you have not, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.